It's been nearly 4 months and I'm numb. It still feels like a ducking nightmare. My ex-girlfriend of 4 years confessed to me 4 months ago that she cheated on me once with her ex in the first year of our relationship. Naturally, we broke up after that. Just like that. In a blink of an eye. 4 years of a potential lifelong relationship thrown into the trash can in a matter of a few days. I'm a guy that has his life together, and until now I thought I had many things under control and I felt complete most of the days. Now I honestly feel empty and days just pass by with me staring at the walls, still hoping that this is just a nightmare and I'm gonna snap out of it and eventually wake up. It honestly feels like I'm in a trance. We were definitely not perfect. We had our ups and downs, but at the end of the day, we always went to sleep knowing that we are there for each other and that we will be there for each other till the end of ducking times. I loved her so ducking much. I remember telling her one night that it hurts me so much knowing that eventually we will die, and if there's an afterlife, I just hope that I could meet her there and be together forever. She told me that no matter what happens, she will always find me. Man, ducking sucks. It still sucks. Still ducking sucks and feels like a ducking nightmare. Duck. How the duck can one person turn your ducking life around like this? How? I was chilling in the bed on a Sunday afternoon. She came crying and confessed that she cheated on me. I was always skeptical that she was hiding something from me related to her ex, but I let it go because I wanted her to feel trusted. I'll never ever ducking ingore my gut ever again. It hurts like a the fucker. I honestly think I'm only now processing what happened. After 4 ducking months. It's so confusing and sad at the same time. I'm filled with waves of sadness. Sometimes I really don't know what I'm feeling honestly. It's a mix of rage, love, grief, disappointment and sadness. I want to scream my lungs out because of the pain she inflicted on me. But at the same, I still somehow still love her, duck. We were surely going to get married if she didn't betray me, and if we had stayed together. She was my everything. I miss her gorgeous smile. I miss making her giggle. I miss her dreamy blue eyes. I miss her joy of life. I miss her. I miss all of her. But all these emotions of missing her feel somehow artificial, almost fake. And it's so sick, because I don't even know who I am missing honestly. Is she the woman I thought she was? Every memory of her is distorted. Because she lied to me all these years. I can't even grieve our relationship properly, because it feels like it was her relationship, not ours. It was her that decided to go on and fabricate a reality that she knew never existed in the first place. She knew that I would break up with her, and she decided to lie to me until she couldn't hold it in anymore. I don't even know if she confessed because she felt bad for me. I think she just couldn't hold it in her anymore. It's so f***ing sad. I wanna scream from the top of the world right now. However, life goes on and I'll need to get past her. At this moment I don't know how I will do it. I just know that I will put all my efforts into it and I'll do my best. But it hurts. And the most painful fact is that I'm stuck, almost in a paralyzed state of mind. I don't even have the desire to meet new women because in my mind I'm still with her and I still love her. But at the same time, I know that it's not worth it, because as I said, I miss a false version of her. It's just that I can't really process this as being the actual reality that I'm living in right now. I'm stuck. I just want to snap out of it and go on with my life, no matter what it takes. But it's so hard. It's like I'm trying to escape quicksand. Don't ever cheat on your partner. There's nothing worse that you can do. Infidelity ruins your heart. It ruins all that you had, because it feels like wasted time. It feels like the person that cheated on you is dead, but at the same time alive. It feels like you weren't there. It's sad and sickening and disturbing and outrageous at the same ducking time. Duck. Redditor's reactions, story 2 after. Redditor 1, is she fighting for you back? She could have always still loved her ex and had something with him that was on a higher spiritual level or primal sensual level. Did you ever try to go through her phone or emails? Would be interesting to see her search history and social histories. Op answer, nope. Complete silence since we broke up. Yeah, I thought of that too. I even think that she still didn't get over him in all our relationship. Nope, I never took her phone behind her back. I'm not doing that kind of poop. And at this moment, it wouldn't make a difference if I saw their messages. It would make things worse for me, I guess. Redditor 2, what was her reasoning for waiting so long? That's a long time. Hopefully it wasn't her way of getting you to break up with her. That's cowardly. Was there no way for you to get past the betrayal, or was it just too long of a lie to move on from? I understand either way. Sorry for your pain. I've been there. Op answer, thanks for your kind words. That's exactly what I thought. How the hell do you keep such a secret for so long and manage to be sane at the same time? It baffles my mind. She told me that she couldn't do this to me, i.e. to eventually get married and keep the secret. I honestly think she felt so bad for what she had done and wanted to end things this way. And no, there was no chance for me to go on with the relationship. It was too much to handle, and betrayal of trust was, is and always will be a deal breaker for me. Redditor 3, hey, this totally and completely sucks and has clearly devastated you. I get it. Many of us have been there. It is super traumatic, when someone you love hurts you so very deeply. However, as hard as it is, it's 4 months later and it's time to start to pull yourself together. Not for her or anyone else, but for you. It's tempting to sit in it and continue to let it affect you, but you have to find a way through. Therapy helped for me, and eventually I could see the light. But I did sit in it for a while and it becomes a vicious circle. I would ask the same questions you would ask over and over. Every day was the same agony over and over and over and over. It consumed me. And I did ask those repetitive questions on the old surviving infidelity site. Finally, a wise person there told me the words I needed to hear. I quote them here often because for me they were the catalyst that finally enabled me to move forward. Those 8 words were, "This all ends when you say it does." For me, those words meant I got to decide when to stop the mourning, the grieving, the what-ifing I was doing for weeks on end, pining for someone that hurt me so greatly. Those words did it. I made a choice, and from the next day on things got better, and I let that person I thought I knew stop affecting me, and instead got back to me and what I wanted and who I wanted to become. Since then relationships have come and gone, but I will forever be thankful to this forum for the help they provided when I went through something similar. Find your words. You're going to be okay, I promise. I wish you nothing but the best, man. So sorry this happened to you. Op answer, I'm virtually pouring you a glass of scotch. Cheers. You have no idea how much these words help. Thank you. Story 2, I need help. How do I know if my partner has traits of a narcissistic abuser? It's been too long. Apologies in advance, this is really hard for me to write down. I'm going to use gender-neutral pronouns to try to avoid bias. I've been in a relationship with my partner for close to 15 years. I feel like they have some narcissistic traits, but whenever I have tried to talk to them about the things they say and do to me, they get very defensive and likely to get very angry. My partner has said and done things that have hurt me immensely. I don't know if they're just a big jerk or if there is something worse. I guess to help, I can list some of the things that have happened. During disagreements around things like financing or vacations, if they felt they weren't getting their way, they would threaten to break up with me and leave me alone. This has happened repeatedly. When I have brought this up as something that hurt me, they simply deny they ever said it. If I stand my ground and state that it was said to me and it hurt, they'll just get louder and louder in their denials until I give up. When angry, they have accused me of being an abusive parent to our child. This devastated me because it's so hurtful and untrue. I told them that I wouldn't even say something like to someone I didn't like, let alone someone that was close to me. There was no apology or recognition of how it made me feel. They obviously didn't have anything specific other than just saying the mean things. They always deny what I've said. I don't know how to describe it, but there are long stretches where they'll counter everything I say with something negative. It doesn't even really matter what I say, they just have to counter it. It has been something as small as like, I say, the weather forecast is calling for rain today, maybe we should go to the zoo when the weather is better. And they'll shout back, no it isn't. It's not going to do that at all. No. As if someone would make up a weather forecast. A lot of the time, I won't even be able to finish my sentence before they're trying to negate what I've said. This would include stuff where, because of my career, I'm quite knowledgeable, stuff they aren't even interested in. I'm afraid to talk because I just know it's going to be put down as stupid or wrong or whatever. They'll intentionally keep important information to themselves even when it's in everyone's best interest to be informed. For example, I was told to go pick up our kid from an activity. They told me the intersection, but not the exact location. It was a big building with poor signage and I couldn't figure out where to go. They ignored all my texts and phone calls asking where to go. They got mad at me for bothering them so much. When I said I was trying to find where to go to get our child, they said, "That's not my fault. You should know where to go." This was the first class, so it was new for us. This is a common thing with them. Probably happens at least once a week. They don't spend time with me, even when I ask. I get it, we're busy and tired, but they just go stare at their phone and fall asleep once our child is asleep. I haven't spent time with them past 8:30 in years. I've become so used to being alone at night that I don't even do anything. I just stare at the TV. They don't recognize work I do around the house. I don't mean the small things, like changing a light bulb or emptying the dishwasher. I mean things like repairing the back deck, painting the entire house, fixing blocked plumbing, installing dishwashers, repairing leaks in the roof. They will still walk around talking about how nothing ever gets done around the house unless they do it. They'll even say it after I spent an entire weekend painting a room they wanted painted. There doesn't seem to be a level of effort that will appease them. I don't know if that makes sense. I try to everything the way they want, but I can never do it well enough. If I say that I'm probably not qualified to do something properly and we should get a pro, they will get angry at me. If we're around people and someone asks me a question specific to me, like about my job or a hobby, they will talk over me and answer the way they want. If I try to speak again, they'll just repeat what they said but much louder. I just give up and keep quiet. Even if our child asks me a question, they'll answer before I can, and if I do get my words out in time, they will just say I'm wrong. They go into other rooms, close the doors, and start saying things about me that aren't nice, like they'll put the shower on and talk out loud about how much I suck as if I can't hear through the door. I've talked to them about this, but they won't stop doing it. There's more, but this is already too long. And reading it back, I seem quite pitiful. I don't know if there's something wrong with me or what. I've tried therapy, but I stopped going because the therapist said she thought I was in an active trauma situation. It made me feel very uncomfortable, so I left. I know that I'm emotionally a wreck and don't really know or even trust my own thoughts, feelings and memories. I sometimes feel like I'm not even really a person anymore. I feel like I'm a vessel to carry someone's cruelty around. I don't know what to do. Update: 2 months of near silence. D-Day was almost 2 months ago. I endured denials, admissions, back to denials, but mostly stonewalling. She initially wouldn't talk to me about her infidelity without a marriage counseling, which I agreed to, during which she didn't even try to deny anything but rather claimed the situations were nuanced. She also claimed during counseling that she felt I was rage-filled and had an explosive temper. The marriage counselor dismissed both claims, but these claims rattled me nonetheless. She still won't talk to me about anything other than routine family coordinating. She still cannot apologize without bringing up something irrelevant to the issue, like claiming I was rude to her family at some point. I feel like an idiot, waiting for her to decide if I'm even worth the effort. Expecting her to have some sympathy or maybe remorse. Am I just being a fool? Does her behavior seem like it comes from someone that would seek forgiveness? Redditor's reactions, story 3 after. Redditor 1, yes. You are being the fool. Gather any proof you can. Talk to a lawyer. Go North Carolina with her. Get STD panel. Move on the best you can. Not only did she cheat, lie, and disrespect you repeatedly, she likely demanded a marriage counselor so that she could try to pin abuse and domestic charges on you later. Just get out. This one isn't worth fighting for at all. Redditor 2, why are you waiting for her to make a decision? Redditor follow-up, really, why in the world are you letting someone you know is a liar, a cheater, and dishonest all around decide if you are good enough? In my opinion, this should all be on her to convince you that she is good enough. Redditor 3, yes, I'm dealing with this too. I either get stonewalled or shifts blame to me or says that the situation is complicated. At no point has there been an apology, accountability, or even just a proper admission of guilt. The only person that can really give you what you are seeking, I'm starting to realize, is yourself. Remember that her actions were purposeful and intentional. It doesn't actually matter what she feels because she did them anyway. For there to be change, there need to be commitment to steps and actions, which is she can't even start with an admission of guilt is going to go nowhere. Look at it this way. The person who said they love you took a big stone rock and while you were just going about your day out of nowhere decided to drop it on your skull and crack it open. Now you turn around and say what the heck? And that person says what's wrong? Why are you upset? The situation is nuanced. You don't understand? Why are you questioning me? That leaves you very confused because you're not the perpetrator. Now the facts remain the same. There was a rock. And your skull remains cracked open. And now the person that says they love you does not see the pain or the blood. So now you're left to fend for yourself to clean up both the blood and your cracked skull. Op answer, uck. I think you hit the nail on the head. It's just so hard to wrap my head around it. Story 3, 5 years after divorcing my cheating wife. I want to work things out with her. I posted on Reddit 5 years ago when I caught my newlywed wife cheating. I'm unsure if it was this group. Maybe relationship advice group instead. Back to the point. My wife was cheating all through our engagement, marriage day and even honeymoon. The best days of my life, she was sending pictures of her naked body to another man every chance she had. Ducking him while she was supposed to be in buying wedding dresses. I found out in worst way you can imagine. Even the consensus on Reddit was that she was beyond any second chance. A lot of stuff happened in between. I confronted her, then went back and forth on what I want, but in the end filed for separation. She seemed to accept my decision and stopped her pleading and trying to convince me to try again. She said if I have made my mind she will try to at least make the divorce easier for me. We had really wild time the day she signed the papers and handed them to me. I hated her touch, but desired her body at the same time. She told me she was sad for herself but happy for me because I deserved much better than her. She broke down and said she had no reason to live anymore, but she will keep living because she doesn't want to bother me. In my mind, I called Beal poop on that, but in reality I kept silent and just left. I always had inferiority complex about wife. She is better than me in every way. Prettier, smarter, earns more, has way more friends. I also recognize now that I was heavily depressed, even before finding out. I joked earlier that she doesn't look good with a plain, middle-class guy like me. She should go be with some millionaire supermodel. She always said she finds such people shallow and boring, and she finds me beautiful too. So when it came out, I concluded that she is just like that. She is a liar. Everything she has ever done or said to me is a lie. This image that she created in front of me, of someone who doesn't want anyone other than me. It is a facade she created for whatever inexplicable reason. She never loved me, never thought I was attractive. She had time with me and then go to the bathroom and send pictures of her body to him. She was just a liar and a cheat. That's who she really was in the inside. So her claim that she had nothing to live for, her proclamations before marriage that I am the only person she really cares about, she will lose her identity if she loses me. I believed all of those before because she said them so lovingly and convincingly, but now I know they don't mean poop. She has always lied to me. Just another manipulative statement. It's pretty obvious. Or so I thought. My ex kinda disappeared after that and I moved on too. I got into a lot of new hobbies for the next 5 years. It was a long time. I also dated a lot of people, tried casual hookups for the first time in my life. I just felt numb. There was nothing of substance. I did not enjoy my time with other women. There was an adrenaline rush that was addictive but not long-lasting. But I did make a whole lot of what you could call friends. There were people to keep me company. I didn't feel alone at the very least. For the first time in life, I was able to actually confide in people. Even about my hardest struggles and about the cheating also. Earlier, I wouldn't have dreamed of trusting anyone that much. Weird how being betrayed made me trust people more. I started dating too, but couldn't click with anybody on the level I wanted. I floated in life this way for 5 years. Last week, I went on a solo vacation visiting many nearby tourist spots. In one such place, I saw my ex-wife in a roadside fast food restaurant. I immediately felt my heart drop. I had no intention of coming face to face with her. But she saw me before I could leave. At that moment, something changed. Maybe I just didn't want to make things awkward. Or maybe I right now figured out I actually needed some closure from her. I walked towards her, smiled at her like she was an old acquaintance and asked if she was alone. She stared at me wide-eyed for 5 seconds, like she could not believe it was really me, and only then said yes faintly. It was a weird convo. We talked about very bland poop at first, completely avoiding the elephant in the room. She started shaking then, and when I looked at her she was crying. I asked what's wrong. She said she's dreamt about this since we separated. When I very rudely told her I am not here to take her back as my wife, she said she knows and that she just dreamt of talking to me again. The entire convo was basically just me trying to get a reaction out of her by asking and saying intentionally hurtful stuff while she patiently explained and told me things I've always wanted to hear from her, but never quite accepted it. Why I could not reconcile 5 years ago has a lot to do with this rage about her infidelity and all this anger that gets the better of me. Seething anger, I can't think of nothing else but that. I could not look at her without wanting to do something bad to her. I always had anger issues. I didn't even entertain the idea of talking to her or asking her questions. I wanted nothing to do with her, full stop. She begged, pleaded, I felt nothing but rage. I could burn down the world with that much anger. Not quite as much as before, but that anger was still there. I don't even remember a whole lot of my questions and statements, but she just calmly sat there explaining everything from her perspective, never blaming me for anything, apologizing over and over, validated my feelings. I don't know why she did that, just know it felt really good to hear all that. I felt at peace. Later on, we moved out of the restaurant and walked on the pavements. She actually thanked me at the end for giving her a chance to say all of those things. She also told me she wants to be a part of my life again, if I let her. We don't need to remarry if I don't feel comfortable, we can choose what we want to be for each other. I am actually seriously considering working out things with her now. But I also think, is this just a high? I know as a fact that I was denying myself closure by avoiding talking to her. I needed that closure, about why she did it, if I was inferior or could not satisfy her in any way. I have listened to all the answers now, hence it feels like everything is resolved. Is that why I am now starting to think about her in that way again? Or do I actually want to be with her? With a cheater? I also think if it is possible for a cheating wife to feel so much regret and pain about her wrong decisions even 5 years later. She says she regrets it every single waking second of every minute of every day of her life for the last 5 years. She said she hated herself, and she will have sold her soul to turn back the hurt she caused me. How can a person turn from a selfish PS to a supposed selfless being who only exists for me? That does seem a bit much. I worry about if I'm being manipulated by her again. If she did it once she can do it again. Or is it me overthinking? I am just very confused. Redditors' reactions. Redditor 1, seems like the reason you're confused is because you never really did any actual work on yourself to get over her and build yourself up mentally. Is it possible she changed? Sure. Is it likely? May? She told you what you wanted to hear when you were with her. Now she's telling you again what you want to hear. People can grow and change and mature, but everything you described about her painted her as having narcissistic tendencies and constant, seeking of validation from other men. Without serious therapy it's extremely unlikely she's made any progress on fixing those issues. So the most likely scenario is that she hasn't changed much, and you haven't changed much. So you immediately feel the same attraction for her you did before, it's just a redo. Redditor follow-up, I agree. I was cheated on, it was painful, but my ex is not an evil person. She's a person. She made mistakes, I made mistakes. She paid the consequences. I kicked her out, now we live separately and we don't talk. I can't imagine living 5 years with the same anger and letting it simmer for so long without dealing with it. Yeah, she probably hasn't changed. She's probably blamed herself for years and felt that pain constantly. But the resolution to that is not for you both to be together. She shouldn't have to be a selfless person who is wholly devoted to you. You're separated? She probably just needs to find a way to let go of that pain. It doesn't sound like either of you have really grown as people, sorry to say. Cheating is awful. But I would never want someone to suffer for 5 years just because they did something to hurt me. I definitely wouldn't want them to suffer for the rest of their life. Go to therapy, deal with your anger issues. You have to forgive yourself. And you could try to find a way to forgive her. It's the only way you are ever going to get past this. Jumping back into the relationship isn't going to solve anything. Move on with your life. Redditor 2, 5 years is a long time. And people do change in that time period, mostly. You know her more than the strangers on Reddit, so gauge how you feel when you are in a place of calm. You will probably get a lot of advice to not have anything to do with her. It is valid advice. But only you know if you see a possibility of, at least, having some kind of relationship. After all, you both had a friendship before. Know that going back into any contact with her will need to be new, and begin again. If you do, take things slow and see where things go. Maybe what has happened in the 5 years is you no longer have her on a pedestal and have a better sense of self. You no longer see yourself as lucky that someone out of your league would have something to do with you. Hopefully, she found out that her looks will always mean she can have some guy willing to ball her, but having someone who will love her is hard to find. Never question your worth. Redditor 3, people can change, man. I have seen and talked to women who did way more damage to their husbands, got divorced, and even 10-15 years later they regret each and every second of that. They didn't date it or even had time with another person in past 10-15 years. There was one woman with whom I had constant conversation. Not only she cheated on her husband, she cheated him from day one of their dating, then engagement, then marriage, and then gave birth to 3 children, none of which was her husband's. All of them belonged to another man. That was when her husband found out. It has been more than 13 years of that incident, and that woman hasn't touched anyone since then, cries every day and is ready to do anything to make this up to her husband. So people change, man. If she really waited for you for 5 years and didn't date anyone, maybe you can give her a chance. Maybe she will make your life heaven going forward. Though I am curious, what was her reason for cheating on you even on your wedding day? That's something new for me. She was able to duck another man on her wedding day.